You can see the ass in the window. I was pretty proud of it because it's hard to because I had to go behind my TV and shimmy with my pants down. And then when I finally got my ass pressed against the window, I had to be on my tiptoes.
So if a cop sees that and then tries to find out who it is, can he legally ask you to show him your ass?
No, you're.
Or if
Wait,
they
what?
get, or no, if
excuse me, sir, I'm a police officer. I need to see your ass.
Or
the first time I was ever mooned was when I was 4 years old.
It works.
Who moons a 4-year-old?
Here's the thing. So I had interesting.
I wasn't
parents.
directed at him.
No, well, sort of. So in my growing up, I grew up in a lot of bar situations because my parents were like, it's late 80s, early 90s. You still take your kid to a bar in Texas, all the time, constantly. So anyway, we went to this.
As was the style.
As was the style. So we went to this comedy club, I remember, and I was like 4 years old. It was my dad, my mom, and we were watching this comedian who was he wasn't really great. He was very campy and ba-da-da kind of humor. But every time he'd tell a really bad joke, a groaner, he'd put his pants down and moon the audience. And he'd just go like that with his pants. So you saw his butt up and down. Well, my parents didn't know this and I didn't know this. So when he pulled down his pants and started doing that, I bawled. I was just so upset and so tearful. I mean, they had to take me out. My parents, had to set down their drinks.
Scared?
And, I didn't know it was a grown man's ass. And I think I'd seen my dad's
How
ass
old
maybe,
were you?
I was 4 years old. So anyway, I go outside. I'm very upset, very upset. The comedian eventually comes out and sits down next to me, and my parents are like, "Can you say something to him?" The comedian, I'll never forget this. He says, "Don't worry, it was fake. That wasn't real. What you saw up there, that wasn't my real butt. It was a fake butt." And I was like, "It was fake?" He's like, "Yes, that wasn't real." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay, then that's okay." And then it wasn't until I was like 13 or 14 and thinking about it later, I was like,
I like how you were still thinking about it.
because it affected me. When I was 13 or 14, I was like,
solve this puzzle.
I was like, that was a real ass. That guy did not have, there's no such thing as a fake ass.
It's weird. And 9 years from now, I'm going to be thinking the same thing about last night.
I think a fake ass would be more disturbing than a real ass.
Well, I didn't know. I thought it was a plastic covering that covered his ass. And so I was like, oh, that's not the real thing. That's a protective shield. You got to understand, I was a little kid in a bar.
How'd they get hair onto it?
That's not his real ass. That's some sex doll ass.
And he cut off one of his.
That was the first mooning I ever saw.
Oh, I don't remember the first
I've never been mooned. I don't know, where do you go that this happens all the time?
I was somewhere in Fort Worth, I think. Somewhere in North Texas.
I wonder what was going through that comedian's mind. Like, he's doing his bit, he drops his pants, then he hears like a kid crying.
Screaming.
He's like, what the fuck? Who's out in the audience?
Also, is that the reaction you want from your ass? To hear crying? Oh, God!
Can you describe it? What was it like?
I mean, he was a heavier guy.
Where did
too.
the man touch you?
So it was a big ass, or maybe I was really small and he was just a normal guy, and it was the ass.
See, now
looked
that
big to me
makes
at the time.
sense. Like I guess my ass is so flat, and I guess
how flat is it?
There's a set of questions that the live action guys have asked me on different shoots and stuff. One of them is, if you could have a business on the moon, what would it be?
Moon shoes, easy. People need shoes. Protect against the rocks.
Yeah, moon shoes.
Yeah. No, think about it.
I'm trying. I'm really trying, Brandon. I'm trying to get there.
They can't bring infinite shoes with them to the moon. You got like 2 pairs of shoes max.
So how are you making these shoes?
I don't know. I have a business. I'm sure there's something.
You're just importing them from
You're
Earth.
so quick to that. I would have a movie theater.
A movie theater on the
Watching
moon.
a movie on the moon, like a drive-in. If you had a drive-in and you had like the earth in the background and that was your view, like that'd be cool.
Well, I guess if you have to have a drive-in, I'm making moon cars.
Yeah, you make the moon cars and I'll make the drive-in.
But to get into the car, to walk your car, you can't just walk in your bare feet.
You gotta wear moon shoes, man.
You gotta get moon shoes.
This episode of the RT Podcast is brought to you by Moon Shoes.
The drive-in theater would only play like stuff like, it would actually just play Rocket Man, Disney's Rocket Man over and over again. That's the only movie we'd ever play.
Yeah.
Actually, they go to Mars in that movie.
Moon shoes.
We'd watch Wallace and Gromit.
What would you need on the moon?
Food and air?
Well, no. Besides the necessities, I mean, like what would...
Entertainment.
Oh, entertainment. I'm trying to think of like what my necessities would be on the moon.
A brothel.
Yeah.
You got a moon fuck.
I don't know. How does fucking have... Has anybody fucked in space?
Oh.
You know
I
that
think
the
they-
International Space Station is just a orgy fest.
Yeah, but
It's got to be.
I mean,
I don't
there's a
know.
lot
I'm
of
sure the
semen.
Russians have.
Why the Russians?
I could see that. Like, I could see NASA having a harder
Like it's an
time.
evil
You don't
thing to
get to
fuck.
just say everything matter of fact.
I'm
Oh, the
explaining it.
Russians.